Hey, good morning, my friends. I'm Live Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Better news in the MLive morning weather update if you're not a high humidity fan, in that the humidity will be going down somewhat short term. It comes back somewhat on the weekend, and then later on, late next week, and toward the end of August, what happened? We see some drier air once again that becomes more dominant, and that's a sign. That's our first sign of fall, I would say. All right, so a lot of places had some nice, much needed rainfall yesterday. Good morning, Henry and Mima Luddington. Tom Ramsey, good morning, Freeport. And Todd Nordhoff, good morning, Cadillac. All right, so satellite picture shows the clouds moving off to the east of our state. That's the cold front. And you can't really see the next storm system. That out in the Dakotas is the next maybe clump of thunderstorms coming through on Saturday. Here's the radar, and you can easily see that the cold front has moved on to the east. I think we'll be dry today across Michigan. Here is your radar forecast. Last few days we've had to look at a bunch of different radars. Hey, good morning, Warren, Michigan, that is. So here's your radar forecast through the afternoon. This is 5 o'clock this evening. And as we've talked about for quite a few days now, Wednesday looks dry. And as we take this into Thursday, Thursday looks dry as well. Hey, let me just hit refresh and make sure that the high-res models aren't coming up with any sort of lake breeze, which is possible in the thumb, a lake breeze isolated shower, but nothing's showing up really as doing that just yet. This is the newest run, running it all the way through tomorrow, and it's dry. So we got a great stretch of some weather coming. Now, remember, I like to look at dew points. Meteorologists like to look at dew points because it's a very scientific way to gauge how humid the air feels. And the higher the dew point, the more humid it feels. So dew point temperatures in the 70s. Remember, a dew point is a temperature. It means that if all of a sudden we could change nothing in the atmosphere and cool the air instantly to the dew point, the air would be 100% saturated. Fog would form, dew would form, condensation would form on surfaces. So when dew points are in the 70s, very humid. When dew points are in the mid to upper 60s, still kind of humid. Less than 65, not too bad, about normal humidity feel, and dew points in the 50s or lower feel very comfortable at this time of the year. So this is a dew point forecast from that same high resolution rapid refresh model. Let me just hit return and refresh real quickly. Hey, good morning, Jim Luke, hopefully it is, from the Eastern UP. Zandra Belson, so much humidity in the air. Are we looking at a 1978 winter? Humidity right now would not translate to something that would happen in the winter. Carter has heavy clouds, and Carl is still camping in Port Hope. All right, so here's the dew point forecast. Noontime today. Ann Arbor, Detroit, Monroe, Lansing area, still near 70, still humid. Look at as you go north of Clare. I think this is oftentimes why people quote Clare as the beginning of up north, because the weather oftentimes changes to an up north feel about Clare. And so we go into the afternoon. This is 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock. Note that between noon and 4 o'clock, the dew points in Oakland County go from 70 to 60. And so you will feel a lower humidity in the atmosphere this afternoon. If you have Golf League tonight, this is 6 o'clock. The dew points will be lower, down into the 50s, even some 40s. So this means pretty much all of the lower peninsula gets into some comfortable air. I do want to note, and I'm going to write an article about this, but you get it firsthand. Note that the dew points over Lake Michigan and Lake Huron stay high. This is the time of the year when the moisture pools over the lakes because the water is the warmest, and it can actually feed a thunderstorm. A lot of folks in the spring say, oh, that cold lake will kill a thunderstorm coming across the lake. It often does, but at this time of the year, it can actually feed thunderstorms. We see this on Saginaw Bay that's very warm. A storm will come through Bay County, hit Saginaw Bay, extreme explosion, and then hit Huron County with pretty strong storms. So now we're into tomorrow, and everybody's enjoying dew points. You can see why we like high-resolution models. Look, notice how it brings an area of humidity off of Lake Erie. So, but in general, we're looking at more widespread, drier humidity, lower humidity. So what do we do on precipitation? Today we're dry with sunshine. Tomorrow also. Friday, work skipper Friday. Boy, that cough. Saturday morning into early afternoon into evening. So there may be a thunderstorm complex heading toward northern lower Michigan Saturday. And then this model is a good one, and it's been trying to indicate a stretched out zone of thunderstorm activity Saturday night, Sunday. My wife and I were commenting where we've been lately, whether it's been Frankenmuth or up north or wherever in Michigan. We're craving a pretty good thunderstorm. We haven't had rumbles of thunder much in our lives. Let's see, Dustin Connor heading to Baraga County, Lance area for family trip for a long weekend. How will the smoke be for sightseeing, and will Saturday be a rain out? Let's go back. Let's go back for Dustin Connor. Sounds like a good time, and I would say nothing's really a rain out at this time of the year still. So this is early Saturday morning. This is morning into early afternoon into evening. You could get away with just a quick shower or thunder shower or two. This is Saturday night, and the zone of storms may be to your south, and then this goes into Monday and another system heading this way. So our dry forecast in the extended term might not turn out to be so dry. We did have, by the way, some folks that got over 3 inches of rain. I'll be writing about that too. So there we have the precipitation pattern on into the weekend. Now today, we're in the mid-80s in Ann Arbor and Detroit, and we're humid. Then low 80s north, then 70s, like 77 in Traverse City and Gaylord. That looks really nice. Thursday looks great. Upper 70s, low 80s. Friday, add on 5-10 degrees, get back well into the 80s. Friday, very summery. Saturday, hot. Saginaw to Mount Pleasant southward. North, very warm. Sunday's temperatures will depend on how that line of thunderstorms lines up. This model wants to cool it on the north side of the storms. Makes sense. And Sunday in Freeport, Tom Ramsey, looks pretty steamy, about 90 degrees or so. And we go out into next week, we see a lot of 70s and low 80s. But as we get out into the future, we start to see some highs in the 60s showing up. Remember, this model can overdo the cool air, but it is a sign of things to come. All right, so now, the way I see it right now, very, very nice the next couple of days, turning very summery for the weekend. Still a lot of summer left, but let's look out 2 weeks out in the future, and you can start to see shades of fall. And we should, because 2 weeks from now, it's almost September 1st. So we're going to look at the upper airflow 15,000 feet up European model in the ensemble mode. And what you'll notice is the ridge builds up over us for a hot weekend. Then it backs to the west. We get into a northwesterly flow, and the atmosphere actually turns a slightly cooler than normal a couple of weeks out. So here it is. We go to Friday and we go to Saturday. See the ridge poking up. And this is Sunday. That's a hot pattern. Note the hurricane appears to stay off of the East Coast. This is Thursday, still ridging of next week. And then let's go to Saturday, the August 24th. And we're starting to see that ridge back up to the west, starting to see a little bit of a northwest flow and a little bit of an indication that that atmosphere is slightly, very slightly cooler than normal. And that translates into very beautiful late August and September weather with highs in the upper 60s to 70s to low 80s. And, we got to start to talk about it the end of summer. Oh, by the way, we want to check out your garden. We're starting today the MLive Flower Garden Contest. We're calling it a contest. What do you win? Pride, notoriety, largest website in Michigan. So find my post on mlive.com/weather, and it'll give you my email address. If you know somebody that has a great flower garden here in Michigan, send me a couple of pictures and tell me about your garden or tell me about their garden, like maybe your mom or your dad or your grandparents, whatever. And I'm in search of the best flower gardens across Michigan. So let's do that. Let's have some fun. We only have about a week or two of flower gardens being in their peak, and then they start to look a little weathered too, I found. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa.